Good evening and welcome to Beyond the Front Page. We're back from spring break here in the spring of 2024 with a show brought to you by Cayuga Community College and put on by Spectrum, ARMA, the Auburn Regional Media Access, as well as Verizon, and Win 89.1, the college's radio station. I'm your host, Guy Cosentino. This coming Sunday, April 7th, the Auburn Chamber Orchestra will be performing at the Auburn Junior High School. I will keep pointing this way because it's on the other side of this wall, a couple 100 feet away, at 2 p.m. with a concert entitled A Patriotic Salute to America. We've asked their new board president, Colvin, who is also a musician, to come in, talk about this upcoming concert, talk about the Auburn Chamber Orchestra, how you can participate, how you can help them, but also how you can attend their great events. And they do some wonderful concerts in our community. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, delighted to have you. First, people who may not know, what is the Auburn Chamber Orchestra?
Absolutely. So the Auburn Chamber Orchestra is a community orchestra. It was founded in 1986, so we've been around for some time now. We are purely community member focused. So while some of our musicians, we are lucky enough that some of our musicians are professionals, by and large, they are folks that are just members of our community. Perhaps they played their instrument when they were in school, perhaps they didn't. Maybe they picked it up when they were an adult, but have thankfully devoted their time and come and play with us each week, very devoted members. And for the next concert, I'm very proud to say that we are going to be up to 55 musicians that are going to be playing in our concert.
So before getting to the concert and how, but I want a couple questions on makeup. You said that some of are professional. Mm-hmm. Does that mean that members of the ACO are paid?
Very good question. So the answer is no. No members are paid.
You're a not-for-profit?
We're a not-for-profit, yes.
And you've been president for how long?
Only going on a year, so less than a year.
And how large a board do you have?
We are a 9-member board.
And I know on your website you're always looking for board members. So does that mean you have to be a musician to be on the board?
So you do not need to be a musician to be on the board. And to be very frank, you know, we love when our board members are not musicians, because sometimes as musicians we think about things, you know, just a certain way and more in the musical mind. But we are very proud to have some folks that are not musicians, don't play an instrument at all, but really bring a well-roundedness to our board.
And you play an instrument?
I do.
What do you play?
I play piano.
And so when did you start playing piano? Forget the Auburn Chamber Orchestra for a minute. How long have you been playing piano?
I've been playing piano since I was 5 years old.
And when did you join the Chamber Orchestra?
Well, I joined the Auburn Chamber Orchestra in 2019. So prior to that, I actually went to undergrad for music.
You did? Where'd you go to school?
Syracuse University.
Okay.
Yep. And prior to that, in Auburn, I studied for 13 years with Dorothy McAvoy.
Okay.
Yep. So went to school for music. I don't do that in my everyday working life now.
So you said there were professional musicians in there, mm-hmm. but there are many people who are just volunteering their time.
Absolutely.
You have a real job. Not that president's not a real job or being a musician is not a real job, but you have a job that you do have to get compensation for. What do you do for a living?
I do. I'm an attorney.
And where are you an attorney?
At Carbonaro Law Firm here in Auburn.
So you practice here locally?
I do, yes.
So are most of your musicians local in the sense that do they have to be, I know it's called the Auburn Chamber Orchestra, but they don't necessarily have to just be from the city of Auburn. I know you have some people who live in Elbridge and,
yes.
and outside, a guy with a great French horn that I know. So where are most people geographically?
Yeah, so I would say the majority are in Auburn, but you are absolutely right that we have a good number of musicians who are not from Auburn, perhaps not even from Cayuga County. We're lucky enough that some people will even travel from Onondaga County, from Syracuse. Our conductor is from Manlius. So yeah, we do have folks that travel in every week to play with us, which is great.
You practice every week?
We do.
And who, you mentioned your conductor, who is it?
His name is Victor Vallow.
And he is a professor at Lemoyne?
Yes, Lemoyne, and he also is an adjunct professor at, it's called American College of Music.
And I believe he's also taught here as well.
Yes.
So what is his background?
So Dr. Vallow has an extensive background. He has a PhD in music education, and he's also got a Master of Music in Music and History and Theory, and a Bachelor of Music Education from Syracuse University as well.
So is he a paid conductor versus everybody else because of his responsibilities?
He is paid, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And how long has he been your conductor?
So we are in our second season with Victor.
Yeah, because I know we've done shows with your predecessors before, and but most of your conductors stay fairly long
They
periods
do.
of time.
Yes, we've been very blessed that a lot of them do stay with us for a long time.
But let's talk about how long a musician may stay. So you're going into your 5th year with the orchestra,
Yes.
but I know some of you lost last year Marion Fritz, who had
Yes.
been with you for decades.
Correct.
Mrs. Gutelius has been there, I'm not going to age her, but
Yes.
she's been there for some time.
Both founding members of the orchestra.
Founding members. So
Yes.
do people stay with you do you have an average idea of how long they stay as musicians?
You know, that's a great question because it really does span, right, the entire lifespan of the orchestra. To go back to what you just said, you know, being founded in 1986, that means that we're in our 37th season now. So we do have some musicians that have been with us right from the beginning. But I'm very happy and proud to say that we're gaining traction, and we have some members that just have cold emailed us maybe over the last 2 years, say, I caught your concert, I really enjoyed it, I used to play, you know, in college or beyond, I would love to join the group. So we've got, it really spans the time.
Do they have to audition?
They do.
And how often do you audition people?
We audition just as needed or when they come to us. So in other words, it's not like auditions are held on, you know, X date. It's more if somebody comes to us and we have a need for that particular instrument, we say, yep, we'd love to meet you. Please show up a little early on this rehearsal date, and we're going to ask you to play a couple pieces for us, and that'll be the audition.
Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star,
Yep,
Mary,
yep.
and Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Yes, yeah, those are the starting points.
Those are the starting points. Well, let me go with that, then I'll come back to the rehearsals and what. Do you have an idea of how young your members, because some of your members are not necessarily adults in the sense that they're still in high school.
Yes, that's right. So we do have some students. In fact, we did a side-by-side concert last year where 1 or 2 of our musicians were actually from middle school. But to your point, we do have some members that are in high school. And again, it just really, it spans the age range. And here's something for you to know in case you weren't aware. We do have one member. Her name is Jeannie. She is one of just our favorite members, and I think I can say that okay, because Jeannie is 96 years old. Okay. And she still comes and she plays with us, and she's going to play in this upcoming concert as well.
So most likely from 13 to 96.
Yeah, from 13 to 96.
Okay, all right, all right. And when you do, back to the auditions for a second, when they audition, are people told, oh, you're not our thing?
By and large, no.
Okay.
I can't think of anything in recent memory. See, here's the interesting, you know, the kind of the dichotomy and the point that we are. We are a community orchestra, but again, I feel like I keep saying the same thing, but we're very happy and proud for the traction that we're gaining, for how good we're sounding, especially under the direction of Victor Vallow. And so we are at the point in our organization's lifespan where we are really starting to having to balance being a community orchestra that is accepting and open to everybody, because really that's what the service that we want to provide. Right. But at the same time, you know, we are attracting talent like never before, in my opinion. So that's really a balancing act for us.
So 50 plus instruments this coming Sunday.
That's right.
Is there anything you're missing?
Instrumentation-wise? No, I think we are just staffed up. In fact, we have a waiting list when it comes to some instruments, just because
Because you can
there
only
aren't
take
enough
so many
part- yeah, 'cause
violists,
there
so
aren't
many.
exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
So I want to talk about this Sunday. You have your first concert for 2024,
Yes.
and where is it?
It is at Auburn Junior High School, right there, as you pointed
Well,
to.
on the other side of the wall. So in the past, and I want to just say this because in the recent past, your home has been the Rev, the Merry-Go-Round Theater. You're not there for this particular show.
That's correct. We're not there for this particular show. Interestingly, our first ever concert, meaning Auburn Chamber Orchestra's first ever concert in 1986, was at Auburn Junior High School. It wasn't Auburn Junior High School then. But so we're very excited to return.
Well, and there have been concerts that are sponsored by, I know the Schweinfurth had sponsored the Conaguglia brothers, who
Oh,
the
yes.
twins, they had played
Yes.
there. It's a, for those who haven't been to the junior high school ever, or as I call it, East,
Yes.
it is a beautiful facility.
It is.
And it's also spatially that you can, not everybody's on top. I remember a Christmas concert at the Rev. I love the Rev, but it was tight.
It was tight. You know, we were, by our count at least, the Rev seats 500, and we think we were just about right there. We're
Oh,
talking
you were
almost,
over.
yeah,
There were people, and
almost every seat filled. So we're very excited to go to. Although we love the Rev too, what a wonderful atmosphere. But we are also really excited, again, with an eye towards serving our community, to be able to host more folks.
So this Sunday, the 7th,
Yes.
because this will play on Sunday, some people, but it'll play tonight, Thursday, Saturday,
Okay.
Promoting this. What time is the performance?
2 p.m.
And is there a fee to attend?
No fee.
So, but you do suggest, you are a not-for-profit, you do suggest that people give you a donation.
We do. You know, the way that we put it, donations are greatly appreciated. That is actually our main source of funding. Although we do write and apply for grants, we are very blessed that our community gives back when they come out to these shows, hopefully because they know they're in for a treat, and for it to be free, we are very appreciative of donations.
Is there any particular average donation that you get?
That's a great question. If I had to ballpark it, I would say about $10, because
Okay.
sometimes it's a 5, sometimes it's a 20, so maybe
Right.
10 is about
And
a
it's
good
well
number.
worth the money. Great music, great, and we'll
Thank you.
talk about that. So there's no tickets, so you don't buy tickets in advance.
Right.
So it's just show up.
Just show up.
And some people might ask this question. How long is the performance?
That's fine to ask. If I had to ballpark, I would say about between an hour and an half.
Okay, and there's an intermission in between?
Yes.
Okay.
There is.
So you have, it may not be a new theme or new music, but it might be a new theme. What is the theme for this week?
Yes. So our concert this weekend is going to be called A Patriotic Salute to America. We are very, very excited about this program because we have gotten in touch with and partnered with a lot of veterans organizations. Specifically, Cuyahoga County Veterans Services has been phenomenal to work with.
Kevin Schwab and
Yes,
that.
Kevin,
Okay,
yes,
he's
has-
been here in the studio.
Oh,
Okay.
wonderful. Kevin's been excellent, so helpful, and really has helped us spread the word. So we have gotten our feelers out to a lot of different organizations, and something different that folks are going to experience if they come to our concert on Sunday is there are actually going to be folks in uniform who will be helping, whether it's usher or hand out programs. There's going to be a color guard. And then I'm very excited for a particular piece which some folks will be familiar with, where basically you run through the different songs for the different branches, and
So there's
those
anchors
who
away
are
for each of those military branches, and then you ask
them
veterans
to stand up. Yes.
So I will say the last two concerts have been very upbeat. I believe the conductor in one of them showed up as Indiana
He
Jones
sure
at the
did.
end. So I don't even know what he's going to show up on this one. But this is very, of the 8 pieces, they're familiar for the most part,
Yes.
but they're very upbeat.
Yes.
So what are you playing?
Yeah, so that's a very good way to put it. They are very upbeat, and I believe that the audience is going to recognize a lot of them. The most recognizable, of course, would be Stars and Stripes Forever. And of course, we're also going to open with the Star Spangled Banner. There's going to be some other pieces, like I mentioned a moment ago. It's basically like a compilation of all the different pieces in one song. Those are all going to be recognizable, in your little snippets.
So there's one for the Army, one for the Air Force, one for Anchors Aweigh, there's the Halls of Montezuma.
Yeah.
You play, everything gets played in there.
Yes, yep. We are playing a piece by John Williams from The Patriot. Another really, I think, interesting and fun one is, it's called Hoedown. It's from Rodeo by Aaron Copland. And although you may not know it by name, I don't want to give too much away, but as soon as you hear it, you're going to recognize it from a very famous commercial, actually. It's going to be a great program.
And I know from Aaron Copland you have Fanfare for the Common Man, which we talked a little bit before on the air, or before you came in to the studio and sat down. Yeah. So that'll be there as well. And then what else are you playing?
Other than that, we have America, Patriotic Themes by James Christensen. We've talked about most all of these. American Salute.
But you finish with, of course, John Philip.
Of course we do. The Stars and Stripes Forever. Yes.
So, again, next door, we'll talk about that in a little bit. How many concerts do you put on in a given year? I know you have a Christmas concert. You obviously have this one.
Yep.
How many do you do in a given year?
So it is normally 4.
Okay.
Or I'm sorry, it's normally 3 is what I meant to say.
Okay.
But
you're doing 2 this spring.
Exactly. So this year we are adding a 4th concert.
That is May 5th.
Correct.
And what is the theme for that?
So that theme is called, it's going to be about Come Meet the Orchestra.
So it's Young Person's Concert. So does that mean that only young people should come?
That doesn't mean that. So
Okay.
Thank you for asking that.
Well, I just want to make sure we're clear on this. But you will see, but there are some songs that are older patrons will know, like the theme to Carmen.
Yes.
But others might not know if they're older, but younger people, maybe it's E.T.
Yes.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yep.
I don't know if I'm Radzetsky March. Am I pronouncing it even close?
Yes, you are. And yes, so to answer your question, although it's called Young Person's Concert, absolutely everybody of all ages is welcomed. One reason that we have chosen to do this is in an effort to get our children a little bit more involved with our organization. The reason why we're calling it the tail end there, Come Meet the Orchestra, is because after the concert, we're going to invite children and their families to come see the instruments and try them out if they want. So we'll be situated in different parts of the auditorium. And so if your child might be interested in seeing what a violin feels like to hold and how does it sound up close, you'll be able to go see and talk to folks that are playing the violin.
You said you started playing at 5?
I did.
So Auburn, to me, and I am not musical at all, I know what I like, and I know that I can't read music, and that's most likely good for everybody. But with that being said, Auburn does have I mentioned the Conaguglia twins.
Yes.
We have a tradition where our schools are good feeders.
Absolutely, yes.
And I know that this is not the time, though the spring concerts for the Auburn School District will be in the next 2 months or so. Why should parents be looking at making sure their children, when they're invited, whether it's to Casey or to Herman, Wasco, Genesee, or Seward, take up an instrument?
Wow, great question. I would say, and speaking from personal experience, playing an instrument gives you skills that you can't get really anywhere else. I would say number one skill would be discipline. If you take up an instrument and you are expected to play in your ensemble or show up to your lesson every week, you better be prepared. And if you're not, there's consequences. So discipline, I would say, is probably one of the main reasons. But other than that, I would say another big reason is to be involved. And when you're part of an ensemble, it's really an experience that's not like anything else. You are learning to, quite literally, right, listen to other people. You're learning to work with people. You're learning to, stop when you're resting, you're listening, and then you've got to figure out when to come back in. And just that feeling of making music with other people it's second to none, and it gives children, especially if maybe they're not interested in other things, let's say sports, for example, really
But you
gives
can
them
do
a
both.
community. Oh, absolutely, yes.
We should say that. There are a lot of families that
Yeah.
they work their music and they, so it's not I won't say a complementary, not a competitor.
Oh, absolutely.
It's
I agree
performed
with
for
that.
purpose. So
Oh.
do you get, no, sports can be complementary too, but in the sense we've had Jim Van Arsdale here and
Yeah.
they just won the Sammys.
Yes, I know.
3 weeks
Fantastic.
ago, which is terrific. They have some really great young people they've played up here at the college. Is that something where you get some students who might be learning an instrument there that come to play with you at a later
Yes.
date?
Yeah, we do. We absolutely have crossover with Perform for Purpose.
So we talked about just these two concerts. I know you do the Christmas concert, which is most likely an easier one thematically to pick music. Who picks the music? Who figures out the theme? Is that a board decision? Is that the conductors? Is that a group decision?
That is primarily the conductor's decision.
Okay.
Yeah, we certainly have input, especially since about 6 out of the 9 of us are musicians, and we all play in the orchestra, of course, if we're musicians. But to answer your question, it is primarily the conductor.
Okay.
That
And
chooses.
so Patriotic, and I'm not belittling this at all, is an annual item that you've done on maybe not annually, but on a regular basis.
Yeah, I would
you
say
do
it's
that.
made certain
Christmas
appearances.
is Christmas. But you did movie themes,
Yes.
which I thought was,
Yes.
that's where somebody came out. As
Hats
Indiana
off to
Jones.
Victor for that one.
Yes.
He came up with all of that, and you're right, he did run down the...
He did.
as dressed as Indiana Jones, which was just so exciting in and of itself.
And so with that, have you started to plan for the fall?
Absolutely, yes. We plan, in some cases, whether it's at least dates to make sure,
Right.
we do plan. We're looking to usually plan 1 or 2 years in advance. One fascinating and really, frankly, wonderful thing about Victor is he plans so far in advance and is just so well thought out
Do you
with
know
his
what you're doing
ideas.
for the fall yet?
Not that I can speak on today, but
Okay.
yeah,
We'll
we've got
cross-examine
some.
you later on it, so it's all right.
We've got some things in the works.
You mentioned young people, and I know one thing that you do. I think at one of the fall concert is, or maybe it's the spring. You do a scholarship program,
We do.
and so the Auburn Chamber Orchestra is very good about promoting its own.
Yes.
And so you have a scholarship for who does the scholarship go for, and what's it for?
Yes, so it goes to a senior or seniors that are active in the orchestra and that play.
So they have to be Auburn Chamber Orchestra members, and who picks them?
Well, we only have so many seniors each year, so it is normally given to just about any senior that plays with us. Now, of course, there would be outlier years, and maybe that's not guaranteed for every future year. But in general, just because of the way the numbers fall, there's usually not more than a handful at most of seniors.
How many, and I know of at least one, how many play for you in high school, go to college, and then end up residing back in Auburn, maybe 4 years, but maybe 10 years from now, and rejoin?
There are some musicians that do that, and we're just so proud and excited when that happens. It's hard to ballpark exactly how many, but I would say there have certainly been maybe 10 or so over the more recent years.
Okay. So I want to ask you a quick question that's kind of more money oriented. How can people help support the Auburn Chamber Orchestra?
Thank you for asking that question. So, like I said, the easiest way and where we do usually make the most in our donations is at the actual concerts. We make it as easy as humanly possible. We have a box right when you walk in. If you want to come prepared with cash, that you could just put cash there. We also, though, will have a square prepared for anybody that may want to donate by credit card or PayPal.
Okay. Is that something new?
Yeah, relatively new.
Okay.
We don't like to make
that
it.
21st century.
We
You
don't
never
like
know.
to make it hard for people to, say no. So,
So they can donate there. They can also write a check to the Auburn Chamber.
Yes.
But you also do ads in your program.
we do, yes.
And that's an annual program?
It's an annual program.
So it's very easy. You can just go to Auburn Chamber Orchestra and you can find information not only about the concerts, but also how you can advertise
Yes.
in that way. as
That's
well.
right. And there's also, you can also donate online through that website too.
Just a curiosity, do people come up with do they have to bring their own instruments or do you provide instruments to them?
By and large, they bring their own instruments, but some instruments are large enough that we provide them. So it's really the easiest way to think of it is percussion instruments. Most of them are provided by us, if not all.
So that
but
big
most.
kettle drum that I see in the back, I don't know if it is a kettle drum.
The big bass drum is
Right.
provided by us,
Okay.
timpani provided by us. But for example, I'll usually bring my own keyboard. So it differs depending on the instrument.
And can musicians who want to audition go to the website and find out how to do so as well?
Yes, they can. It's right on the website there.
So I want to not letting you leave without talking about again where it is. So what is this Sunday, April 7th?
Yep. So this Sunday, April 7th, is the Auburn Chamber Orchestra concert. It's at 2 p.m. It's at Auburn Junior High School. Our concert's called A Patriotic Salute to America. It is free to attend, although donations are greatly appreciated. And we are very proud to honor our veterans, both with our music, and it's also, I wanted to throw in as well that we have a number of veterans in the orchestra, and after the concert there will be a reception for veterans and their families.
Oh, that's nice.
That's also free to attend, and any veteran and their family is welcome to attend that.
And at the junior high east it has a balcony. Are you just on the first floor, or will people be able to sit in both areas?
I believe we will spill over to the balcony if the first floor gets filled.
And people do need to get there before
Oh,
10
yes.
minutes of 2.
Yes, thank you for adding that. Yes, please get there.
And there's
early.
adequate parking. I'm sure the college president's just going to be thrilled when I say that there's parking next door.
Thank you.
There's parking on the tennis court over in the back of the building, but there is adequate parking, handicap,
Yes.
accessible parking.
Yes.
But do not wait till you start pretty sharp.
We really do. We really do start pretty promptly. So yes, I would certainly recommend that you're walking through the doors absolutely no later than 10 minutes before.
And block out about an hour and a half,
Yeah.
hour and 45 minutes, a great
Yes.
concert. It's a fun event of any ages. So I should say,
Yes.
so this is not just for adults. This
Oh,
is for,
absolutely.
I sat with some little kids before who were most likely 4 or 5. It's just a fun event.
It is a fun event, and yes, welcome to all ages.
Well, Allie Colvin, thank you for being here. She is the
Thank
president of the Auburn Chamber Orchestra, just got about a year under her belt. They have their concert this Sunday, April 7th at 2 p.m. at the Auburn Junior High School. For those who might be a little older, it's the old East Middle. It is themed A Patriotic Salute to America. It is a concert that's about an hour and a half. It does have an intermission. It is a free concert, but we do suggest that you might bring some cash to donate or use Venmo because they will have those little card readers. We'll be back on Thursday with 2 new shows. Steve Lynch, the new county administrator, will be here to talk about his new job and also give us a county update. And we'll also have Mickey Cuevas Post, the president of the Auburn Education Foundation, and then their vice president, Bonnie Blair, in to talk about this year's inductees to the Auburn Education Foundation's Hall of Distinction, which is occurring next month. So please join us on Thursday for that. We'll be back next week with several shows, including having Senator Rachel May will be here next Thursday in the studio. Future guests include Auburn Superintendent Jeff Parazola, as well as Auburn Business Manager for the district, Tessa Crawford, who will be in to give us a budget update as they head to the end of their process, even though there is not a state budget right now, to adopt a budget in mid-May, and then we will have our annual school board forum here on May 7th as well. If you have any thoughts for future guests or questions you would like to ask our guests, you can contact us at cozguytho@aol.com. I'm Guy Cosentino for CU Community College. Thanks for watching. Have a great night. And remember, we'll see you next door, 2 o'clock, Sunday, April 7th. Great concert, Auburn Chamber Orchestra.